Hello everyone, it's Christine here and I'm back for our stitch along, and we're going to be working on a silk ribbon embroidery loop stitch daffodil. So the book suggests we use 7mm ribbon, silk ribbon, to create the petals for the outer daffodil, and then also 7mm silk ribbon to create a gathered section in the middle. I will use the 7mm silk ribbon for the outer. The book also suggests that we use a thin silk ribbon to couch down the edges of the petals, but I'm actually just going to use a regular cotton to do that, to conserve my silk ribbon, because in the picture it really just looks like a bit of cotton sort of holding the tip down anyway. And for the center, I'm going to have a go at using some of this just regular satin wrapping, present wrapping ribbon, which I've cut down to be about 7mm thick, and it's got this lovely goldy edge on it. It does fit into my chenille needle and it does pass through the fabric. So I'm going to give that a go, just to give you some options if you don't have silk ribbon, or if you want to conserve your silk ribbon for the bits where you're going in and out of the fabric, because for the center we're just going to bring it through once, gather it up, and then finish it off, so it will be mostly on the surface. So around my oval that I've drawn, I've just put 2 dots at the top, 2 dots slightly above the middle, and then 3 dots down the bottom, and that's where we're going to be working our petals. So I'll bring my silk ribbon through, and then we're going to fold it under itself about 1.5 centimeters out from the center, to create a little, what they call a mitre, when you fold it under itself. Then I'm going to use my thread that I have already threaded up and have a knot in the end of, to put a little straight stitch through from the back to hold my petal tip in place, and try not to pull the thread all the way through like I did. It does have a knot on the end, so it should stay in place. And so I'll just get my petal exactly where I want it, and then I'm going to put a tiny little straight stitch in there. This is definitely quite fiddly working with ribbon embroidery, but I'm sure it gets easier the more you do. So I'm going to then just leave that thread at the back, and then I'm going to bring my petal down, and I might need to hold on to my thread just to keep it nice and taut, and holding that in place. And then I'm going to bring it back down and take it back down into the fabric, keeping my ribbon straight. So I'm just going to untangle my ribbon, well, not untangle, just untwist it, while I then take it back down into the fabric just next to, and make sure you're not coming through and catching your ribbon knot or anything on the back. That did happen when I just did a practice before. So I'm going to keep my little tip straight, and then you should get a lovely little petal like that. So again, if you pull it a bit too much, you can always just let it fluff out a little bit, and that's the sweet little petal like that. So that's your first petal completed. Again, I might just tighten that up, and might just use the tip of this one just to run behind and make sure it's not twisted. Perfect. Well, it's perfect as it is going to be for me. And then I'm going to pop out next door to that. Again, just keeping that thread out of the way. Then I'm going to again, keeping ourselves on camera, fold underneath and make that little mitre fold there, hold it in place, pick up my thread, and in fact it might be easier just to bring my thread through first and then stitch my little mitre in place. So try and get a nice little neat point where you want it. So I might just use my needle as well, just to get it just nicely nicely holding, and then you're going to work a little straight stitch over there. I might actually work a second because last time I found it was just pulling out a little bit, so especially when I pull the needle out from the thread. Okay, and then we bring our ribbon back down to make our second little petal, going back into the fabric, holding it nice and flat against, using our thumb to hold it flat while we take it back into the fabric, and just make sure your ribbon's not twisted at all. So that's our second little petal. Now we'll work our third petal round here. Oops, and we've brought our thread through. We'll work out what's happening here. Oh, and I think we've just brought a bit of random thread through from the back. Not sure how that random thread got caught there, but we'll just cut that random white thread out of the way. And then again, we're going to make sure our ribbon is flat, and then fold our little mitre, work out where we need to bring our cotton through from the back. So probably about here, I think, based on the other petals. And then we can use our needle just to get our ribbon sitting where we want it to sit, to get that nice little crisp petal tip. And I do think it does work better just to put 2 little stitches in, just to be sure. Oops, and try not to catch just managed to catch my ribbon. It is hard when you're working with multiple threads or multiple ribbons, to just make sure they don't get caught on each other. And then we'll bring it back down here, and again we'll hold it flat to the fabric as we pull it through to make sure that we don't get it twisted. So that's perfect. And then we'll pop out at the bottom down here. And again, I might just let that last one just foof out a tiny bit more again. And then we'll bring our thread through where we want that petal to be coming out to, just so that's ready to go. And then we'll fold our ribbon underneath. And put our little straight stitch in to hold that petal in place, and do the second little straight stitch as I like to do. So you're just bringing that little straight stitch just over the tip to hold it nicely in place. And then we're going to bring our ribbon back down just next to where we are, holding it flat on the surface as we pull it through. Like that. And then we might just let it fluff up a little bit. That one has got a tiny twist in it, but I'm not going to worry about that. And then we are going to do another one at the very bottom, about here, I guess. Managed to catch another thread. I think it's just the threads from the fabric coming through. Just get rid of that little empty bit of thread. I'll let my ribbon untwist a smidge, and then I'll bring my little thread to where I want the petal tip to be. I think about there will be fine for the petal tip. And then we'll bring our ribbon, fold it underneath itself. Put our little stitch in place. Put a second little stitch in place. Bring our ribbon back down to the center, just next to it, and holding it flat while we pull it through. Okay, now we'll pop up at our next point. Here, and we'll then bring our ribbon where we want our tip of our petal to be, and fold our ribbon underneath itself. Put our little holding stitch in the tip. As I say, you could use the thin silk ribbon as the book suggests, but I think the cotton works just fine, and you don't really see that little holding stitch that much. And then bring it back down just next to where the other stitch was, holding it flat against the fabric as you do that. Oops, sorry, and trying not to bump the camera as well. Sorry, I think my stomach is growling. It's saying lunch, please. Okay, and then do another one here, and then I think we'll do one more further round, just so that it's a full flower. I'll have to have a look whether it looks like I'm doing one more than the book says, but I don't mind. I'll just do what's pleasing to the eye. Oops, make sure it's actually, I was folding it the wrong way. You've always got to fold the ribbon underneath itself to make that right angle. Can be a bit fiddly at times. Oops, nope, not using the ribbon to catch itself down. We are using the thread, Christine. Okay, again. Just putting two little straight stitches, or one if you prefer, over the tip, and then holding your ribbon flat and bringing it down just next to it. And then, as I say, I think I'll do a final little one here. Got enough ribbon anyway, so may as well. Bring my cotton through ready. Fold the ribbon under itself. I think my ribbon's wanting to go that direction now. Folding it under itself, putting the little straight stitch in the tip. Two straight stitches, and then bringing it down taking it in just next to where the previous stitch was. Again, just making sure it's coming through as straight as possible. Although a little twist is not the end of the world. I'll just tie that, put a little knot here, but I think we'll be using this thread to gather up as well. But I can finish off my yellow. And so we might come back, because I notice we're already at the 15-minute mark. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll finish off the center of this daffodil. So I'll see you tomorrow for the finishing off. Thanks so much, everyone, and see you tomorrow. Bye.